Sometimes you go places and you meet people and you come across people that, because of your natural state, just your baseline, whatever your baseline is, it makes people want to do things for you. Like it draws in. People want to rest and fall into your orbit. And, those of us who, have that kind of, magnetism, I'm not going to say it's hard to go places. It's not hard to go anywhere. But you make it a point to really, make your mark wherever your mark is going to be made and your impact is going to be felt, intentionally or unintentionally. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know what you're doing when you're actually doing what you do. And then you disappear. I was at a spot last night. I'm ordering my food and whatnot, and I'm looking at the menu and everything. The cashier lady, the girl, she was standing there, and she asked me if I had any questions. So I'm asking her questions about the menu and whatnot. And I placed my order, and I go to a section of the place, and I just sit down, kind of ducked off, just next to the wall. But anywhere I go, I always sit so I can see the entrance. I think that's pretty standard, right? You want to be aware of your surroundings are, you know what I'm saying? You want to see what's what. So I'm sitting there, scrolling through the phones and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? And, I'm waiting on my food, and, she comes and, she brings me my food. She brought me, just it's just small gestures, small shit, just free, something to drink, just an extra token. She's like, hey, I brought you this, just, so you could taste it. I said, thank you. And, it was like a pomegranate lemonade, house made. I was like, okay. You put some love into this, huh? When you exude a certain, people like to use the word aura, you know what I'm saying? I kind of feel like, that word is overused, and, people don't really use it in the right context a lot, but I just say your energy, or just, the way that you naturally carry yourself, like your baseline, whatever your natural state is, the way that you communicate with people, the way that you look at people, the way that you, the nonverbal cues and the nonverbal communication. I'm somebody that's, I have a pretty definitive, gaze, for better or for worse. It serves me well. But, it's these types of interactions that you have with people that kind of really, it tells you about who you are. And it tells you about the way that people see you. It's honest feedback in real time. And things like this happen all the time. I go a lot of places and just, get a lot of, I'm not going to say preferential treatment. I'm not going to call it that. But if you're constantly being given things that you haven't asked for and had no idea, you were even going to receive that day, that's a blessing. And I'm a firm believer in, the what you put out into the world will always come back around. there was a point in time in my life where, I was living in my truck or off the homie's couch, whatever the case was. Someone like me who's, at my core, and at my heart, I'm an urban explorer. I'm an explorer, period. Like I love just, being out in the wild. And you get to meet a lot of people who have seen their own battles and their own struggles in their life. And in that process of, bouncing around different places and seeing the world for what it really is, you develop a lot of relationships, friendships, situationships, people who you encounter just on a whim, but also like on a semi-consistent basis just because y'all are frequenting the same places or the same areas. And however you present yourself for the very first time to somebody, like, that's how they gonna remember you. If your first impression is a lasting impression, believe you me, that goes a long way. And a lot of those interactions that I've had with a lot of people, got a few bars around like what that is, like, you know what I'm saying? It's skipping to my Louis luggage. It's just my aura microcosms of what types of shit I do in public. Low 10 up on the Lexus, that's reflection. Destined to bust it down, no objecting, they think it's flexing. But it's true indeed. Like, I only speak from experience. I've actually had this conversation with my moms when I was a kid growing up, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had my mom and I had my dad equally, like they still married to this day. Shout out to them, because how y'all did it? Hey, just hold on. Just hold on. But my dad worked a lot, and my dad was coaching us, and my dad was doing a million and one things. He was on the boat. He was a Navy guy, so he'd be on the boats or be working at the hospital, whatever the case was. And so, my mom sometimes, more times than a few, she had to take me with me to, like her hair appointments and stuff like that, like, to the beauty salon and shit. So imagine being a young kid and you sitting in a beauty salon and you just overhearing and just, you ear hustling. You know what I mean? Like, you're listening to all the conversations that, these women is talking about. It's like, damn, like, that's, like, that's how y'all view the world? Like, that's the lens that y'all view the world through? It's just, it's not a shock. It's just like, wow, like, it's like a kaleidoscope. How you look through the kaleidoscope and you twist it and you get a totally different vantage of what it is, of what you're seeing. I used to just sit there, you know what I mean? Like, there was a few different shops she used to go to as the years went by, you know what I mean? She used to go to this one in Southeast San Diego in Imperial, off Imperial, over by this spot called Fan Bam. The spot was called ISIS. She used to go to this one in North Park. I used to always just sit there, you know what I mean? Mind my business, pick up the Jet magazine, flip right to the beauty of the week. Read the profile on all the pretty ladies and shit, you know what I'm saying? We'll put that down, pick up an Essence, thumb through that, put that down, pick up an Ebony, thumb through that, pick up a Vibe, pick up a Source. And that was how I spent my time. And I'm growing up and I'm getting that from the company that she's keeping. She's dropping knowledge on me. My pops is dropping knowledge, you know what I mean? His wisdom, his experiences, his game that he know. And I'm getting it from my mom's side too. She's raising her son based off the man who she grew up around, which was her father, my grandfather, her dad. And he was a true Renaissance man, for real. Like, if there ever was a definition of what a Renaissance man was, like a photograph, he would be it. Multiple-time chess champion in the city of LA. Y'all ever seen that Kendrick Lamar photo where he's holding all the Grammys? He got like 5 Grammys. Yeah, like years and years, like after my grandfather had passed away, my mom's dad, like we was going through a lot of his shit. A lot of his old stuff. He had a whole bunch of chess champion trophies just like that. Going through all his shit. I grabbed the records. I said, I need to pick up the litter on these finals. I need to pick up the litter on these artworks. going through all his photos. I'm like, damn, all right. Was it rocking fur coats and shit? What's that, mink? Got the mink coat on? Fly, on some player shit. Stories is wild. But he worked alongside NASA, owned property, like triplex shit, multiple. Off Stocker, off Slauson and La Cienega. He was a true gentleman. And so that's my mom instilling that into me as well, just like. So I'm soaking all of this up. So you got those two influences from my dad's side, my mom's side, and then inject my own ideologies and my own way seeing the world and looking at things based on my experiences and based on, just being someone who, from a young age just recognized and identified things that other people weren't really seeing, but also not saying like it's pointing the shit out, like recognizing shit and, speaking up on it. Like, yo, this is what I see. And oh yeah, you get labeled as sensitive, you get labeled as, you're not running around crying about shit, nah, but you shedding light on what you see. And I think that, as you develop those gifts, because I really do see it as a gift, as you develop those gifts through the years, like, I'm in my mid-30s, and, that's a lot of years of just honing those skills and, like, fine-tuning the skills, and, a man who got a clean sword has never seen battle. My sword ain't clean. Shit is nicked up. My heart is nicked up. My soul is nicked up. But at the same time, like there's a lot of work, that I've put into myself from a healing standpoint, and just understanding what, life's traumas bring us, but also like, realizing that, we're all responsible for ourselves. Like, we're responsible for our own happiness, responsible for our own joy. Like, we're responsible for putting ourselves back together, piece by piece. Always being someone who was magnetic in a specific way. You learn how to navigate through those encounters, and you learn how to allow people to gravitate towards you. And, I was someone that kind of, I would shy away from that. Like, I really would. You know what I mean? Just because it was like, I always felt like that was like too much. Like, yo, that's too much attention. That's too much magnetism. It's too much attraction. I'm like, yo, back. Shit, what do, give me 40 feet and an ounce of space. But then you meet people in your life who is like, there's no possible way that you could ever be like that with. Like, your heart won't let you. You know what I mean? Like, you try to stay, but just like, damn, like, I can't. You try to suppress whatever, for certain people you try to, but you can't. Some people you encounter in life, and your guard is up, your swords is up, your boundaries is up. It's a complete wall. And then it's other people where it's like you turn into a motherfucking oversharer in a second. You're identifying what that is and what that's about and why that's the case. It's the hangman. I'm seeing things from a different perspective. Like self-actualization of why it is that you do the things you do. You say the things you say. And why is it that I can't act like this versus act like this with, depending on, from person to person. Some people do it for you, some people don't. And that's really what the law of attraction is, like, My mom told me one time, recently, she said, you're not gonna be for everybody, so why even try? That's what my mom told me. She like, nigga, look, man. She knew. She recognized who her son was a long time ago. It wasn't gonna be easy. You know what I mean? Like, Scorpio shit, man, sorry. It is what it is. But now, like, you know, since I really know, like, my full chart now, when it comes to, like, the Gemini placements, the Sagittarius placements, all that shit, like, you know, I'm finally incorporating all of those different elements. And receiving feedback from some of y'all that's like, hey, we like that shit. I'm like, oh shit, man, thank you. The old me would have had some other shit to say, like, you know, it ain't no thing, like, try to downplay shit. Nah, I just take the compliments, thank you. Just like when I was at Guizado's. She brought me my food, and she brought me some extra shit. Thank you. Because I am appreciative. Like, I do care about the way that my energy impacts people and how the way I move, how it lands. I care about that from a humanity perspective because I like to, you know, I like to put out great energy into the world. So I've always been operating on that wavelength, but now I'm finally in this space in my life to where, like, I'm able also to accept the reality that there is a flip side to being good and great, or what some people would say nice. Well, I don't know. There's the reverse. And when it comes to the reverse, hey, I read cards that way too. So what does it mean to be magnetic? What does it mean to be attractive? What does it truly mean to have an aura that's bright, that extends far and wide with your radius, can even really, like, internally project? Like, you don't even think your shit really is what it is, And motherfuckers tell you, they let you know. Part of attraction is you're gonna attract the real and you're gonna attract the fake. It's like a moth being attracted to the light. That motherfucker's still gonna get zapped. Bzz. But he's still gonna try to motherfucking go to the light. But see, at this stage in my life, I'm able to flip that switch off. And the darkness is just as attractive as the light is. Because what is it? What's underneath the cloak? If you truly want to find out, tap in with me. Email connect@soulsoundboard.com. That's connect@soulsoundboard.com. I'll say it one more time for y'all. That's connect, the @ soulsoundboard.com. And who knows? Maybe the next soundboard we hear might be yours. Thanks for listening.